Hello, and welcome to Nostalgia Marcana. I'm your host, Doug Leaf. Each episode of this podcast, we'll look back on the movies, TV, games, people, and phenomena that we still love talking about all these years later, and ask ourselves why these bits of pop culture still enchant us today. This week, we'll be revisiting...
Is anybody alive out there? Is anybody alive out there? That's right. We're screaming boo, or were we saying boo earns or Bruce? We're talking about
Bruce.
we're paying tribute to the boss today. We're talking about Bruce Springsteen, a legendary American singer-songwriter, kind of one of the most quintessentially American rock stars there's ever been. And ever will be. So I'm very glad we're digging into his catalog today, and I'm not doing it alone. We don't have an entire E Street band with us, but we got a few folks coming back to the podcast. First, he's been on many of our musical episodes before, including but not limited to, gosh, so many. We did all the way back to like grunge, but we did Led Zeppelin and many more. Welcome back, Lost Moon Radio's Dylan Riss.
Thank you.
And
I was saying boo earns.
Oh, we're good. I'm glad we've cataloged who was in fact saying boo earns. Yeah. And the other voice you heard has been on the podcast many, many times. Most recently, I believe, talking about Tango and Cash and Raiders of the Lost Ark. But
that wasn't why I was on. I just was talking about Tango and Cash.
we just pointed a microphone in his direction and picked up the Tango and Cash
ambient
audio.
Tango. Yeah, exactly.
Well, but this is his first musical episode of the podcast. Welcome to back to the show, Dan Oster.
Hey. As if I have been silent thus far.
Well, I'm glad to have you guys both here because I know what huge Bruce Springsteen fans you are. It would have been weird to have done a Bruce Springsteen podcast without either of you guys. So, Dan, I'm going to start with you. Give me your nostalgic memories because I know how much you love him, but I don't know if we've ever talked about like how you fell in love with Bruce Springsteen's music and where that comes from.
Yeah. For me, the memory that I really have, I mean, as a kid, obviously he loomed large. He's one of these iconic figures from the 80s when we were growing up, and who is still incredibly relevant today, which is just kind of cool when like a hero of yours is like still awesome, still, the opposite of canceled, at least in some circles, most circles. But I remember very distinctly when I was in Amsterdam performing with an improv theater. Shout out to Boom Chicago. It's an American comedy theater out there in Amsterdam. And part of what we did was we would do some musical improv, and we would improvise as, known artists. And so I was overseas, and I was like, well, what can I do that sort of easily satirized sonically, with the music and the vocalizations and what you sing about. And Bruce Springsteen really leapt to mind. And so I started to kind of do like a Bruce Springsteen bit in the shows. And I just really kind of got into it. I just really enjoyed it. And then I was listening to more of his music and realizing that, oh, wow, there's just so many layers to this guy. I think Born in the USA is what every kid would know or something like that. But, I started to listen to a lot of his other stuff, and I realized that I really appreciated him, not just as a performer, but as a lyricist. And there would be times in my life subsequently, and I imagine this is going to go on in perpetuity, where something would happen and I would just encounter a Bruce Springsteen lyric that I actually had not heard before. Maybe I didn't hear it a certain way. And I realized that like, oh, he'd gone through something like this and wrote about it. And it's like he's almost like kind of left these breadcrumbs behind for me, as I grow older. It's like, oh, yes, you're dealing with loss or, not being able to provide for somebody or, their youthful idea wanting to get out of here, and all of these things. So I have subsequently, I actually am not in a rush to listen to his whole catalog because I like discovering it. I kind of want to, slowly move through it for like the rest of my life. So that's kind of how I started. And that's how it started, and that's how it's going.
All right.
Basically.
Dylan, same question to you, because we knew each other, sort of through Dan, but we got to know each other a whole lot better when you joined us to go to a Bruce Springsteen concert. So
yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
so that was my second. Yeah, I became a Bruce Springsteen fan a while after I first heard him. I think when I was younger and a teenager, I didn't dislike his music, but it just didn't necessarily resonate for me. Now, part of it was I came of age in the 90s, which was a pretty creatively fallow period for him compared to what he was doing in the 70s and 80s.
Dan starts crossing off some of his choices.
Yeah. But so it just didn't really do it for me. And then, I didn't dislike him, but after college, I moved to New York, and that was sort of in my post-college years is when I really, sort of 22 to 24 or something was when I really, it just clicked for me, and I started really loving him. I don't know if, he's from New Jersey, not New York, but certainly from the part of Jersey that more North Jersey that feeds into New York City as opposed to South Jersey, which is more of like a Philly, Philly centric. So, and a lot of, he does certainly have music takes place in New York City. And I don't know, maybe there's just something about the energy of living there and sort of getting it that did it for me. But that's when I really became a mega fan.
I prefer his period when he was in Los Angeles and with Julian Phillips. That's that's the creative period that I'm mostly in touch
Pretty
with.
limited.
Yeah. For me, I've talked about this before in the podcast. I grew up in a household where we listened to a lot of classic rock. And so that meant, Bruce Springsteen would pop in on these stations here and there, but it wasn't something I was really zeroed into when I was younger, the way, say, I was like more, aware of things like the Beatles or Billy Joel, who I think is probably his closest like musical cousin in terms of like his sound. They're fairly similar. And it wasn't until I think the kind of Oscar buzz around Streets of Philadelphia that I started hearing that song a lot, and I at least was able to kind of clock like, okay, I now have a sense of who this person is. I've heard his name, and like you said, Dan, I heard Born in the USA as a kid. So I kind of like had a sense of, okay, he's this guy. But I still didn't really like lock into his catalog or really start to download a lot of this stuff until I got to college. And because, we were all in college at the time that like file sharing was big. So like through Napster and things like that, I would get like, a friend in college going like, here, listen to, Born to Run or whatever, listen to these things. And I would start to listen to them more. And then I had a pretty good sense of who he was. And then, I'm sure this album will come up at some point, but after 9/11, when The Rising came out, it was kind of like he became this, like, this is the patriotic saint we need right now to like musically like lift our souls back up. And like that album really impressed me. And so once that kind of happened, I was like, okay, I need to really give some of these older albums a listen. Let me go find Darkness on the Edge of Town and Nebraska and start filling in these gaps in my knowledge. And after that, I was like, man, this guy is so impressive.
This is I've introduced a lot of women to Bruce Springsteen over the years. That's what I've done. Everyone that's dated me at least knows that I like Bruce Springsteen, and they all had said something similar, which is I sort of knew him. I knew him as the working class guy or whatever whatever the broad strokes are. But then when they started listening, they really did realize like how much is there. And we'll get into all of it, I'm sure. But one of the things that I think is really impressive about Bruce Springsteen is that he reinvents himself without changing like the core. He's consistent, but he's also does go through eras and speaks to certain moments. But I feel like I would love talking to him in the 70s as much as I would love talking to him now. Mm.
He's also so soulful. Like you mentioned his lyrics. Like there's a lot of artists where you can just kind of go like, as long as the lyrics aren't like so stupid, they like take you out of the song. They're kind of like, okay, fine. It's just basically a pattern of sounds that I'm comfortable with. Right. But other artists, they really matter. And Springsteen is one of those guys that like, his lyrics aren't like obtuse or anything. They're not like so poetic they're hard to riddle out, but they're straightforward and profound in a way that's like everybody can access.
Yeah, I'm not well read enough to make this analogy, but I've done it anyway. Right? So it's kind of like Hemingway, you know what I mean? It's like good use of the words. You know, it's not flowery, it's not turgid most of the time, but it is beautiful and it's poetic and it makes you think about something in a different way.
I agree.
Yeah, the other thing we have to talk about his crazy capacity as a live performer. Like the albums all sound good, but like at his age, he's still putting on like 3.5 hour concerts.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like a church revival energy.
He's the Tom Cruise of live performers, apparently.
Yeah, Dylan. I mean, any other like favorite like Bruce Springsteen memories or thoughts on it? Because you're the one with the most musical knowledge here in terms of, you know, music theory and composition and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of similar to his lyrics. He's good at intentionally sort of sticking to somewhat simple language to build something that's more complex and not something that just everybody can do. So like in terms of the music theory of it all, he usually doesn't stray out of like a home key. Almost all of his songs are in 4/4. There's nothing that's necessarily sophisticated about his composition, and yet there's what he does with that stuff is so uniquely him. It doesn't mean it's at all easy what he does, not even remotely. Some of his songs are also quite epic, and they really have lots of different, you know, sections to them, little mini suites, and those are really cool. And he did that really from the start. Certainly by his second album, I mean, he was doing that in a major way. And much like his lyrics, you know, again, they tend to be words that most people, you know, there's not a lot of highfalutin language in there, and yet he weaves them into these complex tapestries. So I think his approach to music and lyrics is both very similar.
Yeah, my favorite joke about that was the Onion headline that was like, Bruce Springsteen concept album to explore the plight of miners on Mars.
Miners, by the way.
Yes. But he doesn't really do stuff like that too much. I mean, I think he did that tour where he was doing like Pete Seeger songs or something. You know, sometimes he'll do things like that. Overcome. But yeah.
Yeah, and also I think we should spotlight the contributions of the rest of the E Street Band, like because
Little Steven's Underground Garage. I'm sorry, that was my gateway. It was The Sopranos.
Yeah, right. He was on Little Steven Van Zandt was on The Sopranos. He's the one that's got the thing on his head, the like a handkerchief or whatever, always tied around his head.
Yeah, is that true? Yeah. He has like a burn or something.
Yeah, like I think it was in a car accident, and he had some very severe burn or something on his head, so he always covers it and wears a wig. I think there's a part of his hair that was just permanently burned off.
But I will say, you know, when you talk about the E Street Band and all of these characters like Clarence Clemens and Max
Professor
Weinberg,
Roy Bittan,
and all these guys, you know, what are the Patty and all these, you know, these characters that like it's another thing to love about Springsteen and that band is that they had this genuine sense of like camaraderie.
The only thing that comes close is, I was gonna say, the Electric Mayhem.
Yes,
but I'm joking, but kind of not. Like there's a sense of like they're sort of a little family. You know, you get to kind of know them through the music and like through, again, especially if you see them live. Like they have such like unique presences on stage.
Yeah, and that's really hard to do. I mean, how many bands just break up because they just hit their limit? So, you know, they call him the boss. I think Dylan was the guy that told me how he got that nickname because he was in charge of paying the band, right?
Yeah, he would get the money from the club and pay the band, but he hates that nickname. His nickname for himself is Scooter, which was his nickname as a kid, and he at 10th Avenue Freezeout, he calls himself Scooter.
It is funny to imagine him going around still trying to make Scooter happen.
Yeah.
But
it's like George Costanza with T-Bone.
But you know, that point there that like as a leader, as keeping people together, as being the front man and taking on that responsibility is another thing I appreciate about him. And you know, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit at least about his conflict with the Orange Toddler in chief. But one thing they don't have in common is Springsteen pays people.
Yeah. Oh, hi-yo.
So-
no,
so
actually,
there you go.
he's known for paying everyone in the E Street Band the same amount for a live show, which is particularly significant now because that's where people make so much of their money. Of course, his records, though, are never credited to the E Street Band. They are only credited to him. He's the only songwriter on them, and so his publishing is obviously enormously lucrative, especially from that era, the pre-streaming era, and he sold all of his publishing for like some $500 million or something like that.
Yeah, he just entered the billionaire club this year, I believe, and I was
is
like,
that right? Yeah,
but I was like, he had a pretty good jump when he sold his entire catalog. I think it got him about halfway there.
But to your point earlier, Doug, about the E Street Band, I mean, they were, a lot of them are really accomplished outside. Clarence Clemens, before he died, I mean, he played on a lot of people's records. I mean, he's famous because of Springsteen, but he was on a Lady Gaga record. I mean, Roy Bittan, the piano player, I mean, that is really the guy who has been on everything. I mean, you probably don't realize how many things he's played on. Some of them are iconic. Like anytime there was like a song written by Jim Steinman, the Meatloaf guy, or Total Eclipse of the Heart, that's Roy Bittan playing the piano. But he produced like Lucinda Williams' best album. He worked with Tracy Chapman, Bob Dylan. I mean, he's on Peter Gabriel records. So that guy's done everything. Max Weinberg, famously on TV with Conan O'Brien, but they all come back to Springsteen and the E Street Band because that is their home base, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I imagine they just enjoy it.
Nils Lofgren.
Among other things. It's just a nice thing to come back to do. And of course, we should mention that Clarence Clemens is one of the 3 most important people in the world in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, excuse me.
And the other thing, the story I'd heard about Max Weinberg, at least my dad told me this, I assume it's true, but he's pretty knowledgeable about these things. But I guess he would play, right? They like I said, they famously long sets, right? Mm-hmm. And he after a while, as he was getting older, his hands would hurt so bad after drumming for that long. Like as soon as he was done, he would go shove his hands in a bucket of ice water for a long time. Oh wow! These guys really still put everything they've got into one of these shows, and like I said, it feels like a revival. It's like there's an energy in the room, and Bruce conducts the audience like it's an orchestra too, in terms of whipping up the crowd and it's you have to, I think, if you've still got the chance, he's still performing for now, you owe it to yourself to go to at least one Springsteen concert before he stops.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much DNA here into what makes the sort of E Street Bruce Springsteen magic, but yes, that big tent revival feeling is really huge. That that's a big part of a lot of it, and especially when times are dark, as they are now. It is nice to have that energy where you feel like you are at this altar, and you're celebrating community and art and the ability to be your best self. And it does feel like it's the closest thing I feel like I have to a church when I listen to some of that music.
Yeah, no, he knows how to he's trying to uplift your soul. That feels like his goal. He wants to do that. That's the object of the song. So as often we do with these musical episodes, we've all come up with top 10 lists of our favorite Springsteen songs. This is kind of a way of getting us to take a tour through his catalog. So I'll ask what I always do is, Dan, how did you go about curating this list? I realize you put it together pretty last minute, but
that's just
what
me.
Was your thought process in deciding, which songs to include?
I said, ChatGPT, pick 10 Bruce Springsteen songs for me. This is what I'm like, and just pick them. No, yes, I put it off. I tend to do that anyway, but I was also intimidated, and rightfully so, because there's a lot to choose. And what I did was I went to Wikipedia, actually, and I looked at just the whole thing, and I scanned through it a couple times, and each time I saw stuff that I'd missed the first time. Ended up with a list of about 30 to 40 songs here, and right as we were getting ready, just sort of made some choices that I feel like changing. I'm going to feel like changing this whole time. I'm thinking of ones too that I just thought of one when we were talking about the Big Tent Revival stuff that I'm probably going to mention as a result. So that's kind of how I did it. I also want to represent certain albums and certain eras and certain concepts. So we'll see how I did. And I want to avoid the 90s after listening to what Dylan said.
right, Dylan, how about you? How did you? What approach did you take to do this?
I did want to make hit a few of eras or iconic albums for sure, but I think at the end of the day, just my personal preference was really just what do I like the best. There's definitely some on my list that are like, what I like the best is mega hits, and then there's some on my list that I wouldn't call mega hits, but I just really like them, and so it was simple as that. It's just I've listened, to I've heard all of his albums, at least once, some only once, but others, 100 times. So yeah.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I'm like deliberately not trying to like digest it too quickly. It's like I kind of consider it like a wine collection, that I'm just like moving through slowly and enjoying.
Yeah, and I'll admit I'm probably not as knowledgeable about Bruce Springsteen as you two are, but I still wanted to try and spread it out a little bit, not like pick because there's some of these albums where you could have just picked like 4 songs off of one album, and I tried not to do that. But yeah, again, same thing, right? Like these songs are all about kind of like what speaks to you, what moves you, what resonates. And so I tried to kind of go with that gut feeling. It still led me to a lot of hits. A lot of his big hits are big hits for a reason. But I feel pretty good about this list. So we'll see how this goes. So with that, Dan, what was your number 10 Bruce Springsteen song?
So are we were numbering them, huh? Mm-hmm. Can I just say quickly as I delay for 1 second? It's like you order first. I'll figure out what I want. There's at least 2, if not 3, sort of significant categories here. I would say that obviously there's stuff that's sort of politically minded or kind of about society, right? Then there's stuff that I feel like is about romantic life, and then I feel like there's stuff that's just kind of about life. I feel like, in more general terms, like those 3 categories seem to come up a lot for me in this. And sometimes they're all 3, which is pretty cool when a song can kind of hit all of those. So number 10, why don't I pick for number 10 one that might even be an asterisk because he's featured on this song, but I just discovered it recently. I think it's from 2021. It's a Bleachers song, Chinatown. And take the sadness out of Saturday night, 'cause that's just good to have what was missing. We were meant to be bad, to always be missing. But a girl like you really out of my head. Black tears on your cheek, I want them in my bed. I'll take you out of the city, honey, right into the shadow. 'Cause I wanna find tomorrow. Yeah, I wanna find tomorrow with a girl like you. My Chinatown babe, sitting on your front stoop, crying out the crazy. I'll take you out of the city, honey, right into the shadow. 'Cause I wanna find tomorrow. Yeah, I wanna find tomorrow with you, baby. It's featuring Bruce Springsteen, and it's great because it sounds like music sounds like 80s Springsteen, like it does sound like Roy Bittan, like synth and stuff, but it's still got a modern sound to it, and it's a beautiful song. And then in the last verse, like they fade in Springsteen over the vocals, and then he becomes the main vocals like out of nowhere, and it's just like, oh my god, like what a great late stage reveal. Like I couldn't be happier about this. I was already liking this song, now I love this song. It's got, I think every Springsteen song, I don't know if he actually wrote the lyrics to this, but if he didn't, it was somebody trying to sound like him, because it's got a great lyric in it, and it's like something about you, baby, but then like sitting on the front porch crying out the crazy. And I like that. Like crying out the crazy is such a Springsteen sounding lyric to me, right? It's like, it's simple, but it's profound. So Chinatown, it's a really recent song. I think it's beautiful.
Well, I give respect to Bleachers for not denying that Bruce Springsteen is their first, second, and third influence.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of artists, right? Like the Killers and like War on Drugs jump to mind. There's a lot of people out there who, more recent artists.
Yeah, but especially Bleachers, in my opinion.
Yeah, those other two, like the Killers and War on Drugs, wear a lot of other influences on their sleeve, right? War on Drugs is very Dire Straits to me. The Killers,
Yes,
yeah, they have
yes.
some of their stuff like their second album, Sam's Town, is very Springsteen-y, much more so than their first, which has Mr. Brightside and stuff. But it's interesting, like for his like incredibly important and influential as Bruce Springsteen is, he doesn't really have a lot of imitators. You know, which is interesting. You know,
I think around the time he had some interest, like Mellencamp feels. I don't know what the actual history is there, but he feels very much like a response to Springsteen.
Well, my favorite on that was when Bob Dylan used to host a show on Sirius XM, Theme Time Radio Hour, and he says, "I want to play a track by Bob Seger." Now, some people say Bob Seger is the poor man's Bruce Springsteen. I say Bruce Springsteen is the rich man's Bob Seger. I love them both.
Yeah, it's hard to say like how much of this was a sort of a zeitgeist kind of a thing, that kind of gravelly male rock vocal. But it's hard not to look back and feel like Springsteen planted his flag as much as anybody. And then there was also that movie, Eddie and the Cruisers, where he's like, it's clearly like they're trying to do like a Springsteen-y type thing there. So he's definitely heavily influenced people. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to delay any further. We should gotta keep going. But he's such a superhero to me. Like, who hasn't pretended to be fucking Superman? You know what I mean? I feel like pretending to be Bruce Springsteen should be like a rite of passage for a young man.
All right, so we'll move ahead here to Dylan's number 10.
Okay, mine is The Promised Land from Darkness on the Edge of Town. This is in that category of fist in the air, just uplifting, sort of that, tent revival type of thing that Dan was describing. And he's got a lot of them. This is just the one that for me just honestly just like sticks in my head, which is kind of what elevates it over others. There's a lot in this category that I think are great. But that's basically what I felt about it, and I do think Darkness on the Edge of Town is a particularly amazing album in an amazing discography.
Dan, any thoughts on the
Promised Land? I'm actually looking up the lyrics because I know it's got great ones. Sorry. Do you not know that song, Doug?
I know I've heard it. I'm blanking on it right now.
It starts, I believe, the second half of Darkness on the Edge of Town, which.
I just can't remember what it sounds like.
I know it's like
the dogs on Main Street howl because they understand. One moment into my
Yep, got it.
Yeah. It's great. And Darkness on the Edge of Town is a great song on a great album. I do know that one. I concur.
Honestly, I think that album almost is, to me, the album that front to back has no weakness.
Are we going to get to Darkness on the Edge of Town? Did anyone put it down as a song?
We'll find out, I guess.
We'll find out.
Oh, we want to. Okay, well, all right. Because I have thoughts on it, but I didn't pick it, so I'm not gonna.
That's okay. Well, if it doesn't come up, you can always. We'll find a spot for your thoughts on it. No problem. My number 10 comes off of Magic, which I think is a great album.
That's a great one.
His later half of his career, and it's "You'll Be Coming Down." I wish I could say something profound about it. I just kind of like it. It's just a great melody. It just stomps real hard. Like it's got a slight edge to it. I don't know if this is when they had started working with like Tom Morello, but like
it's Brendan O'Brien produced it. It's the
Yeah.
E Street Band. There's no one other than them. But yeah.
Yeah, it has a slightly different sound, and it's like you said, Dan. Like they're not like wholly reinventing themselves album by album, but there are some slight differences. But
Sure.
it still has that like. Okay, can someone tell me like that classic like tinkling high pitched noise that's in most of his songs? What is that instrument?
That's Roy Bittan. He's playing. It's probably a keyboard, but it's a celeste, which is a not unlike one of our co-host's daughter's name, Celeste. But no, a celeste is it's a keyboard instrument, but it I don't know how it makes those sounds. Actually, I should look it up real quick. But I don't think it's a plucking thing. I think it's percussive. And yeah, that's one of the signature Roy Bittan keyboard arsenal.
That I keep trying to think of. There's things I wanted to get in that were non-Springsteen references. So there's a really great Sesame Street bit from like the early '80s or whatever, and it was "Born to Add" by Bruce Springsteen. And when you listen to like how they created a Springsteen sound, they definitely started with that ding 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 like in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like kind of a Jungleland meets Born to Run. So anyway, look that up on YouTube. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Add, pretty great.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Yes, the celeste. I just looked it up. It does have hammers like a piano, but instead of hitting strings, they hit metal bars.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. It sounds like a child's toy or like a glockenspiel or like whatever it is. It's like it's in every song.
Yeah, I mean, a toy piano does a similar thing. Yeah, a glockenspiel is that, but you're hitting that with physical hammers rather than keys that are attached to hammers.
I do feel like the songs on Magic are very of that album. All of the Springsteen. It's very easy for me to like hear one track and go like, I'm pretty sure I know which album that is.
Well, that album is the two things it stands out for. One, it was the first album that was truly an E Street Band album since Born in the USA. He had gone over 20 years without. They appeared on his albums, but sort of on select tracks. And then also Brendan O'Brien, who's like famous for 90s grunge, like he did all the Pearl Jam albums after the first one. He did Stone Temple Pilots. He's done a million things, but Springsteen worked with him, and it's a little slicker than some of his prior stuff production-wise, but I think it really works, and the songs he just really brought his A game for the songs on that one.
All right, so then it takes us to Dan's number 9.
Well, I'll go with the song Magic, actually, from that album.
I got a coin in the palm, I can make it disappear. I got a card up my sleeve, name it and I'll pull it out your ear. I got a rabbit in my hat, if you wanna come and see. This is what we'll be, this is what we'll be. I got shackles on my wrist, soon my slipping might be gone. Chain me in a box in the river, and I sing in this song. Trust none of what you hear, and less of what you see. This is what we'll be, this is what we'll be.
It's a nice stripped down Springsteen track. Kind of reminds me of like a dark version of I'm on Fire. It's about the Bush administration and applicable to all administrations that do sleight of hand and look over here, right? And it's all very applicable, obviously, to now. It's like, hey, you're in the Epstein files. Invade Los Angeles. There you go. Look over here. So but it's done with this motif of I'm a magician, right? I got a coin in my hand. I can, make it disappear or something like that kind of stuff. But then the last verses are like, there's bodies hanging in the trees. It gets very, very dark. And I remember at the time, some music reviewer who really did not deserve to have that job was writing about it. And his main takeaway was, what does Bruce Springsteen have against magicians?
Oh, dear.
There might be some metaphor here. But it's a great one. It's a smoldering song, and it's very dark.
Yeah. Dark, especially on that record that does have a lot of uplifting stuff, but the second half is really kind of takes aim at Bush and the Iraq War. And I really think it's honestly, the best album of his late career, really best album after the 80s, in my opinion.
It's definitely one of my favorites. I have this song as an honorable mention. I like it a lot. Again, for all the like metaphorical reasons you pointed out, like it's very deft, and I just kind of like there's some really nice little like string parts that kind of like layered in there into the production. Like it feels like he's sort of trying with the music to musically apply sleight of hand to you as he kind of
there's also
he hypnotizes you a bit.
There's the produced part that Dylan was talking about because there's sort of his voice echoes in the background a few times, like they do some weird sort of looping in it that's unusual for a Springsteen album. I'm not sure entirely how I feel about it, but I think it works for this particular song. And I should mention, I'm secure enough to say he's a very sexy performer, and even this he kind of makes sort of sensual, which I think is part of what makes it also like a powerful song. You know what I mean?
Well, he's seducing you in a way, right?
Right.
But not in a sexual way, but in a like,
right.
Hypnotizing
into giving up, who you are.
Yeah. Right. Cool. All right, Dylan, you're number 9.
Yes, my number 9 is Brilliant Disguise.
I love that one.
I hold you in my arms. Is a band played? What are those words whispered, baby? Just as you turn away. I saw you last night out on the edge of town. I wanna read your mind to know just what I've got in this new thing I found. So tell me what I see when I look in your eyes. Is that you, baby, or just a brilliant disguise?
Surprise! That is my number 9.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Wow. Well, we can both talk about it. So
We're saving time.
Tunnel of Love record. That's the first record post E Street Band. Although, again, if you look at the credits, they did contribute, but that was the album where he really wanted. He was like, I'm going to do everything myself. He was sort of in a dark place. So he played almost all the instruments. He doesn't play the drums, so he used a drum machine. But he played basically all the guitar, bass, and keyboard parts himself and sang. This song is super catchy. The lyrics are very sad in a sense about never really being able to know someone. He was in the midst of a divorce. I think that whole record was definitely, he didn't want to do Born in the USA Part 2. And I that's something you got to love about him, because he's always in that mode of wanting to do something different and challenging. And I don't think every song on that record hits, but some of them really hit, and this is definitely one of them.
I do actually really like Tunnel of Love as an album. There's a lot on there I really like.
I think it's a great record. I don't think it's cohesively it's as good as, I wouldn't put it in his like top 3 or 4, but I think that some of the songs on there are absolutely.
Now, I know that he and, I believe he and Patty Scialfa had separated and got back together. So they got divorced and got back together?
No, this was from Julianne Phillips.
Oh, Julianne Phillips. Okay, I was making jokes about that. Yes, yeah. Okay, so were they together? Not to take too much time. Were they together before Julianne Phillips and then got back together after that?
I'd have to look that up.
Okay, all right, never mind. That's not super important.
Yeah, and like I said, I picked this as my number 9 as well. It's fitting that it's on Tunnel of Love, like, because Tunnel of Love is like kind of like a cheeky, almost ironic thing, given like he was in this place in his relationship, right? It's like the dark version of the tunnel of love. Like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
And this song is very much about that, right? It's like you're looking at your partner, and it's like I don't recognize you, right? Is this you, babe, or just a brilliant disguise?
Yeah.
And like he comes up with these little turns of phrases, or ways to kind of use a metaphor or an image to really hit hard. A straightforward concept, but he hits the nail on the head so hard here. But it's also a beautiful composition, right? It's got this kind of like almost like Latin kind of sound to it, a little bit like Spanish Harlem, a little bit like that. So it sounds more different. It's not. I don't think there's a big sax solo here. It's not the usual.
No, there's no saxophone on the album.
Yeah, it's not the normal, quite Springsteen song. It's just a little different. So yeah, I like this one a lot.
Well, it's interesting that he was going through a breakup, because I do think you learn a lot from breakups and difficult relationships. And this album has songs that I think are "Tunnel of Love" is one I'd like to talk about. It's a beautiful love song in my opinion, and it has ones about regret. It has ones about being in the wrong. There's just a lot. There's a lot of on here that it feels like he's kind of working through. So I think it's really a good dense album for me anyway, lyrically.
Okay, so we're up to your number 8, Dan.
Well, I will. Why don't I just go with "Tunnel of Love"?
Well, I can feel the soft silk of your blouse and do them soft thrills in our little fun house. And the lights go out and it's just the three of us. Yeah, you, me, and all that stuff we're so scared of. Gotta ride down, baby, into this tunnel of love. Well, there's a crazy mirror showing us both in 5D. I'm laughing at you, you're laughing at me. There's a room of shadows that gets so dark, brother. It's easy for two people to lose each other in this tunnel of love.
And it starts as sort of a weird sort of carnival sound in the beginning that I'm not as enamored with. But then when the kind of synthesizer kicks in, it's this beautiful progression. This song has so many great lyrics that I think really are what relationships are like. And I think the one that I think of a lot of is the lights go out. It's just the three of us, you and me, and all that stuff we're so scared of as we ride on down through this tunnel of love. And it's about how difficult it can be, and but there's an optimism to it as well. It's a great song. It's one of my all-time favorite love songs.
This appears on my list too, so I might say more when we get to that. But
Okay.
but yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I don't have any particular comment about it other than I agree with that. I'll just second everything you said, Dan. I think it's a beautiful song for all the reasons you said.
And as a karaoke jockey who puts Springsteen in a lot, it ends this way. Almost every Springsteen song ends with the lyrics on the screen being ooh ooh ooh, whoa whoa whoa. But they're good. It's good.
Yeah. All right, so then we're up to Dylan's number 8.
That for me is Atlantic City.
Yes.
Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're getting ready for a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys can do. Now there's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a rumble out on the promenade, and the gambling commission's hanging on by the skin of its teeth. Well, now everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City.
Off of the iconic Nebraska album, all of which was intended to be demos. And then and there are full band recordings apparently that will perhaps one day see the light of day. But most people heard them both. Was like, no, the home demos, that's the record. And Atlantic City is the catchiest of all of those. Some of them are extremely stark and minimal. Atlantic City is very sad and gloomy, and you just can kind of feel the rain on the window in his bedroom in New Jersey. But there is something infectious about the melody, as dark and despairing as this whole record is. So that's on the list for me. I also recently, I'll just say, I heard a version of I just wasn't aware of it, and I've heard it a bunch, a version of the band, a later version of them after Robbie had left, covering Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this.
And it's interesting. I like it, but it some people were saying, oh, this is a better version, and I don't think it has any of the desperation that's in on the original or the whole album. And so I like the band's cover for what it is, but in terms of the defining version, give me the original.
This is on my list as well. So is it cool to? I've never been on one of these song podcasts.
Go.
Can I hop on?
Yeah.
Talk about it for a second? Yeah. There's a great live recording in Madison Square Garden that I like of this one. I forget when he was doing that recording. Yes, this song is heartbreaking to me. Mostly about the chicken man. No, he's clearly referencing something that I'm not super familiar with at the beginning. But he said, I got a job trying to put my money away. I got debts that no honest man can pay. And he's like, you really hear about this character who's trying to provide for somebody, for a woman, and it's so sad, and it's so like pathetic in a way, and I've related to it at various points in my life where I feel like I have no time to do anything but to wake up early and try to make some money to try to provide, and I think it's just such a great song about along those lines. And it's cool that it's a demo, because there's a thing that happens at the end that feels like maybe it was a mistake, but he kept it in, where he reverses the lyric. Put your hair up nice, fix your hair up pretty is what he says.
Yeah,
because before it's like, get your hair up nice, make yourself
put
up
your
pretty.
makeup on.
Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And then at the end he says like something about hair twice, and it feels like a mistake that got left in, but that's the rawness of it. I mean, that it's worth keeping in.
Yeah, I agree. The rawness.
Yeah,
and the Chicken Man, by the way, was a mafia figure in Philly.
Right, he got blown up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this song. I have it as an honorable mention. I would have been stunned if it didn't come up tonight. This is one of those ones where the lyrics really matter. The just that whole motif, right? This is everything that dies, right? Someday will come
Everything
back.
dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe
Right.
everything that dies someday comes back. And if that doesn't fucking make you want to cry.
Yeah, it's so like hopeful and hopeless, which is like, no, when things die, they don't come back. That's what death means, But like the person who is trying to convince himself, well, things will come back, right?
He's going to Atlantic City to try to change his fortune.
Yeah.
Right. One more spin of the roulette wheel, it'll be okay, right? My fortunes will change. Is what he's kind of
not the only song like that. He's had others like that.
No, he has many songs that kind of fit that. This song is like, the word that comes to mind is elegiac, right? Like there's something something about it that it like is transcendent. I think if you told me that Bob Dylan had originally written this, I would have believed you. There's this is one of his most lyrically dense, interesting songs, but it's profoundly sad, and yet
I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this movie that's coming out, but it is apparently about the making of the album Nebraska. That's what this movie is going to be about.
Okay, well, I'm willing to give it a shot. So that was yours, Dylan, number 8.
That was mine. Yeah,
okay,
so go for it.
So my number 8 is from Born in the USA, and it is "I'm on Fire."
Sometimes it's like someone took a knife, baby, edgy and dull, and cut a 6-inch valley through the middle of my skull. At night I wake up with the sheets soaking wet and a freight train running through the middle of my head. Only you can cool my desire. Oh, I'm on fire.
This is so pretty. This to me, it almost has like a. There are Peter Gabriel songs that kind of sound like this. It's very just that simple like, kind of guitar that runs through the whole thing, and it's weirdly short. This song feels to me that like this must have been a much longer song that got cut down, because like it's basically 2 verses. There's no bridge. There's no like. It feels like this song should have more parts. It's the kind of song that almost like you get to the end of it and you're like, oh, that's it. I guess I better just listen to it twice all the way through, so it feels like it's a full song. But I think it's so pretty. And again, like that idea of just it's such a simple like I'm on fire, that as a way of expressing his emotions. Like there's so many songs that have used fire as a motif that way, but it's his soulfulness that really tells it.
It's a very sexy song, and famously got, I believe it was Tipper Gore, accused it of being about pedophilia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was during the whole like lyrics crusade and stuff. Explicit lyrics. But it was it's that line, "Hey little girl, is your daddy home?
Right.
Ready to go?" I mean, it's great. I mean, it's beautiful and sexy as hell. And I've yet to meet a woman who didn't get turned on by it. So. I've tested
it's
it.
Amazing. It truly burns, as its title might suggest.
Okay, so up to number 7, Dan.
Now, I didn't realize these had to be in order. I have not done one of your song podcasts. I'm going to have words with your producer later.
I'll tell Amy.
For not prepping me at all. So I'm doing this on the fly. You know what? Since we're talking about sad ones, of which there are many to choose from, Downbound Train is one I really like.
I had a job, I had a girl, had something gone, mister, in this world. I got laid off down at the lumber yard. Our love went bad, times got hard. Now I work down at the car wash, where all it ever does is rain. Don't you feel like you're a rider on a downbound train? She just said, Joe, I gotta go. We had it once, we ain't got it anymore. She packed her bags, left me behind. She bought a ticket on the Central Line. Nights as I sleep, I hear that whistle whining. I feel a kiss in the misty rain, and I feel like I'm a rider on a downbound train.
From Born in the USA. And I would argue that that's an album that doesn't have a bad track on it. And Downbound Train, beautiful. It's sad. It's a lot of his songs are about things moving downward. It's like at least 3 that I could think of.
I'm going down, right?
I'm going down. Yeah, you'll be coming down. I mean, there's a lot of down is a theme. But there's this moment in it where he talks about a dream that he's having. And then he hears you or something, and he goes to our wedding bed or whatever, and it's empty, and then he hears that train, off in the distance, and it's she's gone and she ain't coming back. You know what I mean? And another kind of obviously reminds me of Atlantic City, where he's like kind of the last part is like I work at the junkyard or whatever, at the end, like swinging a hammer, just trying to kind of forget, but he can't.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like he's on a downbound train.
Yeah. It's a dark one, surrounded by, a record that had a lot of, at least musically uplifting ones, but yeah. As you say, there's not a bad track on Born in the USA. It is truly a classic.
Which is funny because the namesake is the one that everyone knows, and it's a good song and it's an important song, but it's also like kind of the least complex song on the album in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it only has 2 chords.
Do I can play it. I learned it.
Yeah, I was obviously listening to a lot of Springsteen to get ready for the podcast, and I listened to that album pretty recently and going like, man, it's gonna be hard not to pick all these songs. Like they're so good. Like that, is it his single best album? It's got to be in the top 3. Like it's in the running.
It's one of my top 3 albums of all time, if I'm being honest. I can put it on any time and be happy with it.
Yeah, you will definitely see more songs from it on my list tonight. But yeah, this one's an interesting one. Yeah, Downbound Train. It's like, I almost don't know how you pick that one over some of the other amazing songs on that album too,
I think I was just trying to pick the odd one out. That kind of let me not pick the other ones.
Interesting. Okay, great. So then, Dylan, you're number 7.
Okay, well, let's keep it on that album and let's go mega hit. Why not go to his biggest hit of all time, Dancing in the Dark?
There's a joke, yes, a wine, it's on me. I shake this world off my shoulders. Come on, baby, the laughs on me. Stay on the streets of this town, and they'll be carving you up alright. You say you gotta stay hungry. Hey, baby, I'm just a fast star tonight. I'm dying for some action. I'm sitting around here trying to write this book. I need a love reaction. Come on now, baby, give me just one look. We can't start a fire, sitting around crying over a broken heart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. We can't start a fire, worrying about your little world falling apart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
Which, if we're just talking about most single sold, that would be number 1. But for my favorites, it's not my favorite Bruce Springsteen song, but it's in my top 10 because I just think it is, it's infectiously catchy. I love, again, the lyrics. There's a real melancholy to the lyrics. There's a joke some here, and it's on me.
And it's on me, yeah.
She says, it's just I love everything about it. It's very simple. There's not a lot of, whatever. The harmony is straightforward, but every chord change he makes is perfectly chosen. That simple synth riff in it is iconic. I love this album. I love this whole album, but this song. One thing I wanted to note, though, and this is a good example. We just talked about Downbound Train and then Dancing in the Dark. One thing that Bruce Springsteen does, which is sort of subversive for the record industry, he actually, if you look at his records, he often, the second half of his records, the B-side, has some of his more uplifting, anthemic, poppy stuff, and it's the A-side that doesn't. You'd be surprised if you go through this stuff. So on Born in the USA, Downbound Train is on side A. Dancing in the Dark is side B. I think it's the second to last song. This is true a lot of the times. The Rising is like the third to last song. Brilliant Disguise and Tunnel of Love near the end of that album. You look at a lot of these things, Glory Days, second half of Born in the USA. So it's a choice he makes because he came of age in the 60s when everything was front loaded on the A side, and he intentionally did it differently.
Yeah, it's almost like he's making you listen to the stuff he wants you to hear. He's like, I'll get to Dancing in the Dark.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, I should note that that's my girlfriend's favorite Springsteen song, Dancing in the Dark. And you make a great point that it's arguably one of his most like poppy songs that you can put on and it gets people dancing, but it's got lines in there like, I want to change my clothes, my hair, my face. It's got some pathos.
This is higher on my list. I like this one a lot. It's just sort of a funny thing about it. So I think most people know this is I don't know if it's her very first thing, but Courtney Cox is in the video.
Yeah.
She's the person that Bruce pulls out of the audience at a
It
concert.
also has arguably the lamest dance of any song.
Terrible dance.
Well,
This is like kind of arm
But
swinging.
yeah, that was her big break. She was an unknown.
So that leads to the second thing I was going to mention, which was years later, of course, when she hit the big time with Ace Ventura and then Friends.
Yeah.
She went on SNL, and Adam Sandler, like during her monologue, came out and was like parodying this, like pretending to be Bruce Springsteen. And it's kind of funny, but then at one point he like flubs the lyrics because it's a live show, and she like helps him like get back on track. It's kind of a funny little.
Let's try to find that.
Yeah, it's a fun little bit if you can unearth it. But yeah, what I really love about this song, like, I mean, yes, it's a catchy like melody. That bridge is so good.
Yeah.
When he starts singing about sitting around getting older, like that really elevates the song to me. I think that part is so good. I just kind of want to live in that part of the song.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was recently featured. What were we watching? It was one of these like, Amy and I end up watching a lot of these like murder mystery type like mini series things. This is a British one, and there's this whole thing where like the main character is the father of this family whose wife goes missing and is murdered. Like there's a scene early on where he's like playing this song at his two like teenage sons in the car. And they're like, "Oh, Dad, you and your old music," and he's like, "Shut up, this is great." You know, I was like, "Oh, perfect choice for a song for something like that." But
it's higher than you think too, because I've done it at karaoke, but I have to take it down at like.
His voice is much higher than you think. Get Born in the USA, in particular, this song.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Okay, so up to my number 7, I was really I wanted to pick something from The Rising, and I was really struggling. Like it was down to 2 songs. I'm calling an audible here, and I'm going to go with the title track with The Rising.
Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind. Make my way through this darkness. I can't feel nothing but this chain that binds me. Lost track of how far I've gone. How far I've gone, how high I've climbed. On my back's a 60-pound stone. On my shoulder, half mile of line. Come on up for the rising. Come on up and lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight. Left the house this morning. Bells were ringing, filled the air. I was swearing to cross on my calling. On wheels of fire, I come rolling down here. Come on up for the rising. Come on up and lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight.
I had Waiting on a Sunny Day there, which I really like. But since this is a podcast about like nostalgia and emotions and things, the power of that song at that moment is kind of, unrivaled in some ways in music history. It's no accident that Barack Obama chose it for his campaign song in 2008. Like there's like, for a guy who
either that or Santa Claus is coming to town. We're down to those two.
right. For a guy who's known for writing, uplifting anthems, like this was like the medicine we needed at like one of our lowest points in history. And like, here comes like basically like, Bruce Springsteen on a white horse. Like, here, listen to this and feel good again.
He's done that multiple times. In fact, I do want to talk. One of the songs on my list is very recent, along those lines. But Streets of Philadelphia, I know that was later. It wasn't like right at the height of it necessarily, but it was, from the movie Philadelphia. It was about AIDS. Yeah. It's such a beautiful song. And so he's done that multiple times. Or the Vietnam War with Born in the USA. He's so good at taking a moment that seems hopeless and infusing it with not running from it. I mean, soaking up all the sorrow and pain, but also leaving you feeling somehow hopeful.
Yep. Yeah, that's the song. You'll put your hand in mine is the lyric, right? You know, it's like, I got you. You're okay. You're gonna be okay because
it is
Uncle
called
Bruce
The Rising. Yeah. So he's going up. Now, see, this is one of those songs where it's got an upward trajectory.
Right. You're not going down.
This one's going up.
All right. So then, Dan, you're number 6.
Dan's brilliant musical analysis. Which direction is this song pointing? I want to say that I'll talk about this one. Light of Day. So first of all, he's written a bunch of songs for other people, which is really cool. Like when you kind of go and say like, oh, you know, Because the Night, Patti Smith, his version's really good too, but he wrote it. Yeah. Light of Day, Joan Jett does a really good one, but you know, his version, the one that I know is this live one that he did on this the Unplugged album, and I think it's an MTV thing or something, probably, if I recall. But it's like 10 minutes. It's a whole journey, and it's built that big old tent revival shit. You know, it's like I want you to get off the couch, take off all your clothes now. You know, he's like literally doing that. It's great. I know you're downhearted. I know you're disenchanted. He's doing all of that, and I'm a little down out, but I'm feeling okay. Got a little lost along the way, and I'm just around the corner to the light of day. So this is another one of those kind of hopeful, optimistic ones. It's been helpful to me at many points in my life where I feel like I don't know how things are going to get better, but I got a feeling that they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I have not heard him perform this song, but
I really recommend it. I'll send it. It's actually, I think, my favorite live performance of his song.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely send it to me because that's the clip I'm going to drop into the episode then.
Okay, it's niche. Someone sent it to me, so I'll send it to you.
Yeah. All right. So then we're up to Dylan's number 6.
Okay. Mine is my favorite song from Magic, and it is I'll Work for Your Love. The story of this for me is that I've seen him twice in concert. Once was with you guys in Anaheim, and once was in Boston in 2007, which was on the Magic Tour. And there was somebody in the audience who somehow had arranged something for Bruce Springsteen, or maybe held up a sign, and Bruce Springsteen said, "All right, what I give her like, Jane, Bob's got a question for you. Will you marry me?" And she says yes. And Springsteen goes, "She said yes." And everyone goes crazy and goes, "Up! No. That's great. but your work's just starting because you can't take her for granted and you can't take one another for granted, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, every day of your relationship is going to be, you got to work to prove that you are worthy of the other. And anyway, so then he plays this song, I'll Work for Your Love, where the refrain is, I'll work for your love, babe, I'll work for your love. What others may want for free, I'll work for your love. And I actually do really like that sentiment that relationships take constant work. You can't feel unworthy of the other person. You always gotta have your own confidence that you are worthy of them, but you always have to keep working, always. And I really like that sentiment. And then the song's just catchy as hell, and it's on what I think is, to date, his last great album, and it's my favorite track from it.
It's interesting about Springsteen because, again, he's many things. He's this renegade who seems very current a lot of times, but he's also old-fashioned in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I'll work for your love, and these kinds of sentiments of being like, I am the man in the relationship, and that carries with it certain responsibilities. I appreciate that. I do kind of like that aspect about him. He's still very egalitarian and everything, but he holds on. He has values around that kind of stuff, that kind of old-fashioned masculinity,
I was going to say, this is non-toxic masculinity.
Yes,
well.
Although I think he meant it for the women, too. Like, you both got to work. Yeah.
Oh, sure. But he's talking about himself in that particular case, I feel like. But you're right. Yes, both people could sing that song. That's true.
I love this one. Yeah, this is a great pick, Dylan. In an album of, like, again, for people who are not as familiar with his more recent stuff, and by more recent we mean almost 20 years old now, but still, like, this is an exceptional album, and this song, it feels like it could be off of Born to Run. Like, it's got the same kind of sound, major chords, and he kind of proves himself as this, like, Hemingway-esque poet, right? Just saying, like, it's just, he's not doing anything flowery with the language, but he knows how to turn a phrase of, like, this great motif of, like, I'm going to work for what others want for free. I'll work for your love. Like, I'm going to put in the time. So, yeah, cool. And my number 6, I think, kind of goes with that. This is an older one, but it is Hungry Heart. This is one I just remember hearing a lot on the radio. Again, listening to classic rock stuff. My dad would just come down to get ready for work in the morning. I'd be getting ready for school. Radio's on. This song would pop on a fair amount, and I just love the percussion here. Like, Max Weinberg's drumming really kind of just drives this one really well, especially the way it kicks off. Just that brum brum ba da da da.
Sorry, did you say Hungry Heart?
Hungry Heart, yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't want to yuck someone's yum. I think it might be my least favorite Bruce Springsteen song. It's at his most Billy Joel.
Well, I was going to say that
we like Billy Joel.
They sound so similar. This is the song that I think is the massive overlap. This is like Springsteen does.
Yeah,
Billy
I keep thinking it's Billy Joel. I think Billy Joel should have done it.
It's the vocals. Honestly, in his vocals, he's so not raspy here, and it's the higher end of his register.
Yeah, I don't know. Not to dump on it. I know a lot of people like it. I just, every time it comes on, I go like, I wish I liked this more. Sorry,
the melody and the piano-driven thing. I think it's very Billy Joel-esque.
Maybe I'm just not the biggest Billy Joel fan. That's the other part of it. Like, I would. He's the Hobbit to Springsteen's Lord of the Rings.
I do like this song. It would not make my top 10, but I like it. It's on The River. The River is an album where when you ask mega Springsteen dorks what they like, it's very fashionable to say The River is his best album. I actually have always struggled with this album because I do not like the production of it, and it just I just think that it just is begging to be remastered in some significant way. And I don't know, there's something weird about how it was originally recorded, but it's big and sprawling. This is the one on that record that's like, you know, pithy and catchy, and I'm sure was the biggest hit off of it. And I do like it. I do like it.
Okay. So you're up to Dan's number 5.
You know, I'm being very nimble because I didn't number them. So I will talk about The River, actually. And it's interesting that they're both on the same album, because there's an example of a real contrast. I'm talking about the song The River.
I come from down in the valley, where mister, when you're young, they bring you up to do like your daddy done. Me and Mary, we met in high school, and she was just 17. We drive out of this valley down to where fields were green. We go down to the river, and into the river we dive. Oh, down to the river we'd ride. Then I got married pregnant, and man, that was all she wrote. And for my 19th birthday, I got a union card and a wedding coat. We went down to the courthouse, and the judge put it
And, you know, that's such a sad one that a lot of people do
Yeah.
identify that as like arguably like the saddest Bruce Springsteen song. It's all about this like sad failed young love and this, you know, another broken down guy with no future. But they go down to the river, right? And they make love, and that's what they have. It's a beautiful song. This is one where he kind of howls. You know, his voice sometimes sounds like kind of a howling wolf in certain songs, like Jungleland and The River, and I think that's just really cool.
Yeah. Well, it fits that thing that you were talking about, Dan, the theme of just like, don't know how it's going to get better, but maybe it will, you know. Goes down to the river, though I know the river is dry.
Though I know the river is dry.
Yeah.
Well,
My baby and I.
this is also of a piece with Atlantic City, right? This is a similar kind of,
Yeah.
hope within hopelessness kind of song. He likes this motif. I mean, he's got a lot of songs about down and out guys, you know, where, you know, maybe there's no future. I think, Dan, you were telling me earlier, he said, he said like, yeah, everything's basically some version of the Animals. We got to get out of this place.
Yeah. He said that at South by Southwest. Yeah, you know, I think it's interesting because you can be the most successful guy in the world, but a broken heart can make you feel like you've lost everything.
Yeah. He also has clinical depression, which, you know, he now speaks openly about.
Oh.
And and he describes how some of his songs he feels like a fraud, like when he's talking about the working man and, you know, factories or whatever. He says, I never worked a real job in my life. You know, I've been a musician my whole life. He's like, but my dad did do all that stuff. But he says, sometimes I feel like a fraud when I sing about, you know, blue collar labor. But when he sings about depression, which a lot of these songs do come from that, that is real. That is a thing that he's had his entire life.
Well, you can feel that, but you know, in the same way that I wouldn't expect Springsteen to work on a factory line and build a Chevrolet or something, I wouldn't expect those guys to go and set it to music and make poetry out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of this beautiful thing, because if you see him as a kid, you see this long-haired kid, you know, this artsy kid who's trying to understand his dad and give voice to the people in his community.
Yeah.
And he decided that he was going to kind of be this sort of troubadour and do that. And a lot of people point out that, like, oh, he's a fraud. He's not really. No, he took that on as a messenger, you know, as a bard. Like he said, like, I'm the music guy. I'm going to sing about your problems because they matter to me too. And I love that about him. I think that's super fucking cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know, he knew a million guys like this growing up in
He did not grow up wealthy.
No,
No, he
he's
didn't.
singing
And his
about
father did live the life that he's describing.
Yeah, he's singing about where he grew up from. So like we did a podcast on Billy Joel, and he's like this too. I mean, he does write songs about, you know, working class folks, you know, that he grew up around, and there's still an authenticity there. He has that song, right, Down Easter Alexa, where he's talking about like fishermen, you know, in Long Island and Allentown, where they're closing the factory down, right? Those are not inauthentic, because by the time he wrote that, he was, you know, diving into Scrooge McDuck money.
Yeah, it's called empathy, you know?
Right.
I know it's a strange concept. I remember hearing some story recently about when he was touring in England in like the 80s or whatever, he donated like a bunch of money to these miners that were on, these British, you know, miners that were on strike.
Again,
ER. Yeah. Well, it says there were children on strike.
I mean, it's Britain. If they're working in a mine, they could be.
Get back in that cannery. You know, by the way, speaking of young kid Springsteen, in his Broadway show, you know, he had some funny moment where he was talking about, like, you know, I picked up that guitar and, you know, everybody's around and I put it away. It was too hard, you know. And like picked it up again later. So I thought that was really funny.
Okay, so where are we? Oh, Dylan's number 5.
So I'll take us back to Born in the USA. Not a hit single from the album, but my favorite, Bobby Jean.
Well, I came by your house the other day. Your mother said you went away. She said there was nothing that I could have done. There was nothing nobody could say. Now me and you, we've known each other, yeah, ever since we were 16. I wished I would have known. I wished I could have called you just to say goodbye, Bobby Jean.
Bobby Jean is a love song to your best friend, it's a song about, as it's described in the story, it's you know, he says, I went by your house the other day. Your mother said you moved away. That basically someone, you know, a childhood friend grew up and left, and moved away, and then he just sort of reminisces about just how amazing, you know, they just came of age together and learned about everything together. We liked the same music, we liked the same bands, we wore the same clothes, and he hung with me when all the others turned away and turned up their noses, and it's great. The song is about Steve Van Zandt, because Steve Van Zandt, while they were recording Born in the USA, told Bruce that he wanted to leave the E Street Band and go solo and do his own thing. And during the recording process, Springsteen was really filled with emotion about it, and he ended up writing this song, and so Stevie Van Zandt plays on the song that is about him, and it just happens to be my personal favorite from Born in the USA.
It's another thing that Springsteen will write about, right? You know, friendships, you know, within the band and all that stuff. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really telling. We've done lots of these music podcasts now. By far, this has been the most lyric forward one we've ever done. Usually we're talking about, like, you know, oh, this chord change or this solo or, you know, this neat production trick, right? We're talking about the musical side of it. We've spent the vast majority talking about the words because they really mean something. So I think that,
Well, that's the thing about Springsteen to me is more than the sum of his parts. Right? Is he, you know, the best guitarist? Just if you take that, no, he's talented, but he's not like there's people that are virtuosos that you could put higher on the list if you really wanted to, right? You know, is he have the best voice? No, he's a very iconic voice and I think an amazing voice, but again, it's very idiosyncratic, right? So all of these things come together and then they produce a whole that is distinctly him, distinctly American and amazing. But I will say, as a lyricist, I kind of do put him high on a list of lyricists. I actually do think he could go toe to toe just on that.
Yeah,
I put him way up there as well, especially for, as you've said, like this Hemingway-esque, like choosing economical language. You know, I have a pantheon of the very top lyricists. I don't know if he quite cracks like my top 3, but he's right there. But again, the sum of his parts, it's the lyrics and it's those incredible vocal melodies that make his songs so catchy, and he writes, great chord progressions, and some of his songs are, they're very ambitious. They're like sweets. We might talk.
He's a true rock star too.
Yeah.
He's when he's up there holding the stage.
Oh yeah.
As a front man, I would put him, up against anybody, right? I mean, he's so many things that kind of all come together.
Yep.
Yeah. So my number 5, this had to show up somewhere. It would be insane if it didn't. Here it is, Born to Run.
The highway's jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive. Everybody's out on the run tonight, but there's no place left to hide. Together, Wendy, we can live with the sadness. I'll love you with all the madness in my soul. Oh, someday, girl, I don't know when we're gonna get to that place where we really wanna go, and we'll walk in the sun. But till then, chance like us, baby, we were born to run. Oh, honey, chance like us, baby, we were born to run. Come on, Wendy, chance like us, baby, we were born to run.
Sure.
This is my brother-in-law does. He would call this the spaceship song, right? The spaceship's leaving Earth. You only get one Springsteen song to put in the spaceship. It's probably this one. The only reason it's not higher on my list is I think the ones I'm going to pick later have a little more going on musically. Most of them. This is fairly straight ahead. The only kind of flourish it has is when it kind of, at the end of that solo in the middle, it kind of like stops, and then everything kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the one like kind of flourish.
I never know when to come in. I always have to look at Dylan.
Yeah, I've seen you do this many, many times, and it's just a banger.
Well, that's I think it's like Dancing in the Dark, Born in the USA, and Born to Run are probably the 3 that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are his big 3 in terms of popularity. I agreed, though, that if you could only say there could only be one Bruce Springsteen song, it would be this one. Thank goodness we don't have to make that choice. But but yes, I actually think there is more even musically going on with this. I think there's some pretty cool harmonic things that he does throughout it, and the whole middle section is particularly cool. Yeah, I think this is like a little mini suite of his, and I think it's just. I think it's not my number 1. It's higher on my list, but it's I really do think this is a brilliant encapsulation of everything that makes him great.
It is. I will bring it out at karaoke strategically because I know that it gets people going, and I know how to do it well. And I've seen people die on it so many times. And but if you do it right, or you play it in a room, and people, and that's the fun thing about karaoke is it sort of people get much more animated about a song than if it was just playing in the bar. Yeah. It's pretty cool. This one really gets people going. I believe
he also plays it every concert. I believe maybe not when.
I think they have to. Yeah, they do it
but I think
encore.
That's the only one that is truly every single concert.
I mean, I like Steve Van Sant making some joke about I think what I saw, I was like the Magic Tour. He's talking about I'm still learning this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're an artist of a certain stature and you have a song that is that iconic, I can understand why, as a person, you're like, God damn it, I have to play this thing again. But you always have to remember that, for a decent percentage of the audience, this may be the only chance they get to see you in concert.
Oh, yeah.
And, how disappointing would that be to not hear the song,
When you listen to him talk, especially at his concerts, I think he really does enjoy this as an act of service.
Yeah. Right.
In part. It's not all of it, but it's certainly not all about him. And I'm sure he's like, yes, people want to hear this. I will do this.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, Dan, you're number 4.
Number 4, A. This is an interesting one. This is off of Tunnel of Love as well. And I had for a while, as somebody who really likes to sing Springsteen songs at karaoke, like was like, well, what's the duet? Why is there no Springsteen duet that I'm aware of? And I kind of poked around and I found there's multiple live performances of him singing this with Patty, and she's harmonizing with him. And I was like, this is beautiful. This is great. So it's tougher than the rest.
Well, it's Saturday night. You're all dressed up in blue. I've been watching you a while. Maybe you've been watching me too. So somebody ran out, left somebody's heart in a mess. If you're looking for love, honey, I'm tougher than the rest. Some girls, they want a handsome Dan, or some good-looking Joe. On their arms, some girls like a sweet-talking Romeo. Well, round here, baby, I learned you get what you can get. So if you're rough enough for love, honey, I'm tougher than the rest. Well, the road is dark.
And I think the version of it that you should really see is the live versions where they harmonize together, because it's really beautiful. But it's a little bit of an I'll work for your love kind of sentiment to it, which is that those other guys, and maybe they weren't up to the test. But I'm tougher than the rest. Like I can be what you need me to be. Yeah, so it's simple, it's beautiful, and when they harmonize on it, I've done it. Bryn and I went and did it recently at a karaoke, and it's great because it's a song that people didn't even really know, and that's kind of fun. So yeah, beautiful song, tougher than the rest.
What's funny though is that you mentioned that you like it so much as a duet live, but I think it's like almost everything else on that album. It's mostly just him. In overdubbing himself.
That's right. He actually is harmonizing with himself on the album, which I'm not as into.
Right, exactly. So he mostly just recorded, not even in a studio. Or I think he built a home studio when he moved back to Jersey, and that's what this is.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird, like, I'll just do it. Like I understand how that can be a little strange, and yet he is talented enough to produce some pretty good tracks on it.
Yeah.
Even if they're not the best versions of those tracks.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so then Dylan, you're number 4.
My number 4 is the song "Darkness on the Edge of Town."
Well, they're still racing down at the trestles, but that blood had never burned in her veins. Now I hear she's got a house up in Fairview, in a style she's trying to maintain.
Again, concluding what I think is as strong an album as any that he made. This is incredibly dark and more even where some of his dark songs are, I would describe like depressed and despairing. This one is almost bitter and sardonic. It's a pretty intense. It's just again, this character kind of sounds like the character from the river or the character from any one of the Nebraska songs. But there's an edge to this one, and there's an edge to this whole album where he is. You just really feel a certain rage in him. Maybe nothing more on that album than Adam raised to Cain, but there's a lot on this album where you just, and again, it's interesting how he followed. This is the album that comes after Born to Run, his big breakthrough hit, and then this one is grittier and angrier, much like he follows, Born in the USA with Tunnel of Love, where he's kind of doing everything himself. So it's interesting how he sort of reacts to his big hits and doing something different. But yeah, the dark grit and just almost sneer to it is pretty striking.
I can't quote scripture, but I can quote Springsteen, and this song has some of my favorite lyrics, which is, everybody has a secret, son, some things that they just can't face. Some folks spend their lives trying to keep it, carry it with them every step that they take, till one day they just cut it loose or let them drag them down. And I just think that's such, when I heard that at the exact right time in my life, that whole idea of letting go.
Yeah.
So even in a song, it's literally called "The Darkness on the Edge of Town." Yeah. There's a little bit of light poking through.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked about this a bunch, that he finds the light in the darkness. This one is less so, right? It's a pinprick of light in this song. And you mentioned Adam Raised a Cain, which I like. That's on my honorable mentions. This is a darker, angrier version of him, which I think he still does this very well. I think this song actually pairs really well with George Harrison's "Beware of Darkness." I think, which is kind of more hopeful. But I think the two songs kind of speak to each other in a way, even though I'm sure they were never intended to. But I like the pairing. So great. Okay, so we're up to Dylan's number 4.
No, that was it.
I'm sorry, it's me.
You're number 4.
My number 4. This got name checked earlier. This was much more famous as a cover by somebody else, but I sure like the Bruce Springsteen one a lot, and it is "Because the Night."
Take me now, baby, here as I am. Pull me close, try to understand. Desire's hunger is the fire I breathe. Love is a banquet on which we feed. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel when I'm in your hands. Take my hand, come undercover. They can't hurt you now, they can't hurt you now, they can't hurt you now. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to us. Have I doubt when I'm alone? My love is a ring, a telephone.
I really like the way this is produced. Now, not to take anything away from Patti Smith's version, which is great.
Both are really great.
Yeah, it's slightly slower. Bruce's is a little more deliberate, but I think it's just like his voice and like the reverb they put on it or something that makes it feel a little more epic. Like Patti Smith's is more like, it's not a punk song, but her voice is much more raw in a way. This feels more like Bruce is like leading you through this, and he's harmonized, I think, with himself. On the track. Like, I just really like the way it's produced. So over time, this has, I think, become my preferred version of the song.
I think my favorite part is when he slightly changes the melody or the notes on it, where it's like, because the night belongs to lovers. He does that part. That's how, I love that.
Yeah. This is from the same era of "Darkness on the Edge of Town." It didn't make the album, but he recorded it at the same time. And he just didn't feel that it fit. Great song.
The way I feel under your command. I mean, it's so good. I just love that. I love that lyric. Your command.
Yeah.
They can't hurt you now.
They can't hurt you now. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, Dan, number 3.
Just because it's got to get in there, Thunder Road.
Don't run back inside, darling, you know just what I'm here for. So you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we ain't that young anymore. Show a little faith, there's magic in the night. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're alright. Oh, and that's alright with me. You can hide beneath your covers and study your pain. Because lovers, the roses and the rain. Waste your summer praying in vain for a savior to rise from these streets. Well, now I know you're all that's understood. All redemption hanging off a girl is beneath this dirty hood. With a chance to make it good somehow. Hey, what else can we do now? Except roll down the window and let the wind blow back your hair. Well, the night's busted open, these two lanes will take us anywhere. We got one last chance to make it real, to trade in these wings on some wheels, climbing back hills, waiting down on the tracks. Oh, come take my hand, we're riding out tonight to case the promised land.
Thunder Road is a song that honestly, I don't think I know at all what it's actually about, but every lyric in it means something to me. Every line in it now, I think at this point has something that I go like, that reminds me of this thing in my life or something that was happening at this point. And it all makes so much sense to me, that song. And, you know, it's one of the bravest lyrics, I think, in a song. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right. I mean,
And that's all right tonight.
yeah, I mean, that's a gutsy lyric, and it's good. It's a really good lyric. And that's all right with me. That's it. And that's all right with me. Yeah. You know, it's somebody who it comes up in your podcasts, and believe me, if anyone is struggling, come and reach out to me, please. I'd like to help. But, you know, I talk about chronic pain. I'm much better off than I used to be with that stuff. But there's a line in the song, you can hide neath your covers and study your pain. You know, and I'm like, I did that. I did do that for a long time. And so, and you know, the futility of that. It's a brilliant song.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I love. Yeah. I mean, I love every song in Born to Run. I think is such a testament to the era. It came out in this album. Came out in '75. It's the first song on it, and he really takes his time getting into it, and he really is like, kind of like we're saying. Oh, he puts some of the most anthemic ones on the second half of an album, including the song "Born to Run" is on side B of this. But it takes a while. You start out with like this sort of drawn out harmonica solo, then the first verse is only keyboard, that iconic Roy Bittan upper octave, tinkly piano, and then the other stuff comes in. You hear his guitar come in. Finally, the whole band comes in, and then the big sax solo is at the end. It doesn't, it's not in the middle of the song. So he messes with the structure, and it's a longish song, and he's just like, I'm taking you on a ride, and you better be with me, and it's not the streaming era where you just quickly click to the next track. You're sitting there listening to your LP, and he's telling you, take this all in.
But again, karaoke is so interesting to me because people have to listen. They have to go through it with you. And so they do get to the cool part. They do get to the, well, I got this guitar and I learned how to make it talk. Again,
that's
what
like
a great,
through,
what a cool, lyric. Yeah, it's way in there.
Or maybe it's 2/3 the way in.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been the chorus on a more of a pop song. Yeah. So anyway, I agree. It's a slow build.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even like it that much at first. I think the first time I heard it, I was like, it's kind of long. And now I'm in love with it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my powder dry on this. It is higher on my list. So I'll just move on to, let's see, we're up to Dylan's number 3.
Yes. And that's where Born to Run hits for me. We've sort of talked about it, but I will reiterate, I think if there was only one Bruce Springsteen song that existed, it would have to be this one. But thankfully, that will never be something we have to decide.
All right, so then I'll go to my number 3, which is from Born to Run, the album, and it is 10th Avenue Freeze Out.
I was standing in the jungle trying to take in all the heat that was given. 10th
This one is just the first time I heard it was actually not the album version. It was some live version that was like 17 minutes long. Like it was like he combined it with other things. It wasn't just like, what if we played this song 5 times in a row? It was, this whole, again, like church revival thing. He kind of slowed it down. And this might've been the part in the concert where he, turns and is like, and we got Clarence Clemens on saxophone, introduces the band and does all that. But it was really long. But there was something like, this was like the most church revival-y that I had seen to that point. This was me watching, I think, a concert video of his or something at home, and just being blown away by it. And I think it's like the story of the band, sort of, into this little number. I think when I eventually heard the real thing, I was like, oh, it's much shorter than I realized, having started it, again, this bloated 17-minute extravaganza. But I've never stopped loving the song. Like, I just think it's a great kind of like almost gospel tune in a way.
Yeah, this is great. This is where he refers to himself as Scooter and the Big Man.
Trying to make Scooter happen.
Yeah, that's it. It's about when he and Clarence meet up, and when Scooter and the Big Man rip the city in half or whatever. And it's great. I love the horn licks in it, and I love it's sort of uplifting, and then you've got that sort of bridge section where it's like, I'm all alone, I'm alone, and It's.
I know this mostly from singing it with Dylan's band, the Moon Units. I feel like I learned it because it was one of the ones you knew and you liked, and were like, "Hey, we should do this one." Yeah. It's funny. It is the genesis. This in Jungleland for a bit that I was telling to Doug that I've done nothing with, but I want to do so badly, which is Bruce Springsteen singing about characters from Springfield. They'd be like, and Professor Frink is working on one of his contraptions, and Edna Krabappel. I just think of it as such a stupid, but like singing about the people in the neighborhood. Like that was a very distinct era of Springsteen.
Cool.
All right, so we're up to your number 2, Dan.
Number 2. All right. I like it's a very serious one. It's one of his issue ones, and I think it's a good reminder that, Springsteen is, people look at him sometimes, younger people, as like this real establishment guy, which is so wrong. And like the way he pissed off cops with the song American Skin.
41 shots cut through the night. You're kneeling over his body in the vestibule, praying for his life. Is it a gun? Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend. You can get killed just for living in your American skin. Her son ready for school. She says on these streets, Charles, you've got to understand the rules. If an officer stops you, promise me you'll always be polite, and that you'll never.
And that was that song about that guy that got shot 41 times because he was like reaching for his wallet.
Yeah.
He's an immigrant. And it was in New York, I think.
Yeah. Is it Amadou Diallo? Was it?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. They were harassing him, and he was reaching for his wallet, his identification, and they riddled him with 41 bullets.
Yep.
So it's called, American Skin, but it's got the famous kind of refrain, 41 shots. And it pissed off a lot of cops, with this one. Which I think is, is a good reminder that he was never afraid to, he's never been afraid, I should say, to push back against authority. It's a beautiful song. It's got done many times live, a lot of great live versions of it that kind of expanded out into more voices singing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song. It's a very serious one. It's very sad.
Yeah. Yeah, Rudy Giuliani, and he had a showdown over this one, which
God, yeah, and the lines in it too. You know, one of the part of it is he's speaking as like a black mom, I think, talking to her child, and you know, when an officer stops you, always be polite, never ever run away, keep your hands in sight.
Yeah,
you know, it's this guy, dude. You know, long before Black Lives Matter, Springsteen was talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was.
You talk about this idea of like he's this like counterculture guy. Like he's not. I think he stands up for what he thinks is right and good, and it's kind of like, get out of my fucking way. Like, oh, he pissed Rudy Giuliani off. Well, guess who won that one? You know?
Yeah. He put it on the album High Hopes, which is when he was. It's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff from like that he had never fully released, but he
did he do like a weird like Return to High Hopes or something? Or no, I guess not.
Wrecking Ball,
but
that's an album that
Tom
Morello plays on. You're mentioning Tom
on High Hopes. Okay,
yeah.
Or Wrecking Ball. Which one?
He plays on both.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, I described my dad as having kind of a common sense morality. You know, his racism is just stupid. And I'm not saying that Springsteen would ever write the line "racism is stupid," but you know, his sort of view of things it doesn't seem pretentious.
No, it's
I don't think he's pretentious.
Yeah, he's lawful good, right? Like you just know, like he stands for what's right, and if you're on the wrong side of Bruce Springsteen, you should not. You should check
I think
yourself.
It's just like, you know, in your heart, you know, in your gut when something is right or it's wrong. We should anyway, and I think you have to do a lot of extra work to convince yourself that certain things, like the things that are going on today with people getting snatched off the street, that there's any justification for that, for treating other people like that. You know, people really work really hard. And you can see them working hard. I'm sorry to get super political here for a second, but you can see Stephen Miller working really fucking hard, you know? And I don't think Springsteen has to work so hard to come to what he believes.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Dylan, you're number 2.
My number 2 was mentioned before. It is the song Tunnel of Love. I just love this song. I could just put it on repeat forever, mainly because of just the music and the melody, but you know, we have been talking a lot about lyrics, and this is a great example of how evocative he can be without using highfalutin language. It begins, "Fat man sitting on a little stool takes some money from my hand while his eyes take a walk all over you," and I love that. And you know, and the relation, and then this is, you know, all a metaphor for carnival amusement park ride as a metaphor for romantic relationship, and I just think he nails it. And again, it's mostly, you know, it's you hear the electronics and drum machine at the top because he wanted to essentially do the whole album himself. This one actually features Nils Lofgren from E Street Band playing the guitar solo, but the one thing I would say is, you know, Dan mentioned like, oh, you know, Bruce like is a guitarist or whatever, you know, he's not the best, but he's not whatever. I did hear an interview with him. It possibly was Howard Stern or something, but whatever it was, they said, the interviewer said, you've won all these accolades, you've won, you know, album of the year, all these Grammys, you know, songwriter, whatever, all these top things, and you know, everyone loves you, man. Is there any way that you're underrated? He goes, I think I'm a pretty good guitar player, and I don't get credit for it. He actually does. If you want to see him like rip a pretty sweet guitar solo, look up this live video of "Prove It All Night," which is from Darkness on the Edge of Town, but like from that era, from like '78 or something. He takes an extended guitar solo that is cathartic and emotional. It is. Okay. He's a better guitar player than people. Is he an all-time great? Absolutely not. But for a guy who's a singer-songwriter, it's like, yeah, that's pretty damn good.
No, I will definitely take a look at that. And Bryn won a lot of points with me because we've been playing with this deck of cards. It's like questions for your relationship, and they're like conversation starters. And it was like, well, what's a song that you think, you know, defines our relationship or something like that? And she picked "Tunnel of Love." Wow. Which really surprised me because it's not one that we listen to a lot, but like clearly I've infected her now with Springsteen. And so I thought that was really cool. Yeah. It is a funny way to start the song. "Fat man sitting on a little stool." What a love song.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 2 is Dancing in the Dark. So we've talked about that. But actually, before we even get
But the postmodern jukebox version.
Yeah, the postmodern jukebox. I like postmodern jukebox, by the way, but it's you're not going to top Springsteen.
I'm like, are they good or are they elevator music? That's what I'm trying to figure
I don't think they're elevator music, but I had to learn a postmodern jukebox arrangement for.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, it's sort of like if you take the pesky like depth out of a song and just make it like Glee level harmonies, then you get then oh my, it really improves it.
There's a Glee element to it.
Yeah, they're at their best when they're not turning classics. You know, when it's like, oh no, we're going to do the safety dance as a ragtime number. Like, fine, I don't care about the safety dance. You know, go for
sacrilege. Are we going to do our Men Without Hats?
Yeah, it's next up on the list is Men Without Hats.
I have to pick 2? Oh shit! All right, hang on.
Now, actually, before we get to honorable mentions, I realize we haven't talked about this yet, and it needs to be talked about, which is Billy Freehold needs to be discussed.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Billy Freehold is this character that Dylan really I think conceived of, and then I immediately like snatched in our comedy group Lost Moon Radio many years ago, probably about 2009 or something. And so this is a comedy group that may have come up on this podcast before, but there's Dylan and many other brilliant people were part of, and also me, and just these like the brilliant musical comedy was an element of it. And you should maybe talk more about it, Dylan, about the conception of it. But there was this character whose name was Billy Freehold because that's Springsteen's hometown of Freehold, New Jersey. And I mean, I'll maybe let you describe it a little more. But I just want to say when it was presented as we've got this idea, I elbowed people. I was like, that's mine. That's mine. Yeah. I don't care if I do it bad. It's mine.
Well, the original song that Billy Freehold sings, and we wound up writing about 6 for him or 7, but was called "A Hard Life," and it's basically begins with evocative images of the factory of people lining up to go on strike, and then the lyrics go. Basically it's like people, workers lining up outside the factory. Union wants to strike for better wages than they've got. And then the turn is, and I'm still out on the golf course when my assistant breaks the news, and I get so mad I hook my goddamn shot. And the rest of it, you realize it's from the CEO's point of view. And originally, before there was even a name, it was just credited to the boss of a major corporation.
Yeah. And this is before we had decided to make this a character that had multiple songs, and we started to play with the background of him. Yeah, it was a real 1-to-1. It was bizarro Bruce Springsteen. What if he was singing about the plight of a CEO?
And so then he's not himself a rich man, but he's singing from that perspective. He has a Thunder Road breakaway type of song where he gets stuck in traffic.
He's complaining about the 405. That's what that song's about. He can't get out of this town because he's stuck on the freeway.
Yes, he has a love song, but it's actually to himself in the mirror, and he's got a song about the hardworking man. It's a blogger who does stuff for
blogging man.
Blogging man who does stuff for clickbait sites like the old what was that site that BuzzFeed, before it became semi-legit.
Yeah, and then anyway. we did a little web series. Yeah. Where we were trying something. We were trying to write songs really currently, really fast. We would try to turn the news cycle around really quickly. So these were not evergreen songs. We were writing about Michael Cohen and stuff. And it was really, it's really one of the great joys of my life that I got to collaborate with Dylan on that. I hope someday we can find more ways to do it. It was super fun, and we just never went broke, whether it was through Freehold or something else at Lost Moon Radio, setting conservative ideology to beautiful music. It's an inherent incongruity. They don't go together, and it's always kind of funny. The last one that I just mentioned I really like, it is kind of the tougher than the rest of the wall between us.
Yes,
which is that one that's it's this couple singing. So Martha and I were singing it together, and talking about how we got to tear down this wall between us and rebuild it on the Mexican border. And the kind of joke is that if we could just get a wall, then everything would be fine. I'll stop drinking, Yeah. You'll stop cheating on me.
Actually, it was satirizing the type of people who sit in their Barker loungers watching Fox News, not talking to each other. But it also was, in fact, a real thing, which is that sometimes, you project all the failings in your relationship, you project it onto something that doesn't have anything to do with you. It's this is the real issue. And so in that case, it was if only there was a wall on the Mexican border, we would all of my personal problems that have nothing to do with politics would be solved. And actually, people do shit like that in their own lives.
It was a little bit of a slow burn. It was a heady concept, but I really liked it. I liked the harmonizing on it, and so anyway, it's a super fun thing. I mean, you can certainly find some of it on YouTube if anyone's interested. If you look up Lost Moon Radio, definitely got to put that in there. Yeah. And then Billy Freehold or Hard Life. You look those things up, you should be able to find some version of those things out there. They're good. I'm very proud of them.
All
the
right.
wall between us. Yep.
All right, so it's time for honorable mentions. Dan, what songs you got left on your honorable mention list?
Oh wait, gosh, did I not?
No, we did it. We went through our number twos. We're saving.
Oh, we're gonna save our number one until after the honorable mentions.
Correct.
Okay, this is when I talk about Santa Claus is coming to town. I will just say, I'll be real quick about this and say I hate Christmas music, but that's a fun one. It's just fun.
It's on my list too.
It's just fun, and like you get to get that part where he's like, "Hey, like Santa Claus is gonna bring you a saxophone." It's the cornball Springsteen. That's always enjoyable. So that's on there. That's on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Are we doing all of them or just one?
Yeah,
just do a list, a real quick list.
A real quick one? Okay. I'm Going Down. Big fan of I'm Going Down. If you're ever in a fight with someone that you love and you put that on, it's very cathartic. Murder Incorporated, that I think got released way later. Like it was one of the ones that kind of sat on a shelf for a while. Just really fun. Just like it's really good. And I'll just throw one more in there and say Human Touch. I actually really like. I like the song Human Touch. Just think it's really pretty. That may be one of those ones from his fallow period. I'm not sure, but I still like it.
Yeah. No, there was some good stuff in the 90s. I was being a little harsh, but yeah. My list, I'll have a 90s one on here. My list, Rosalita. This is, if you, again, ask Springsteen Junkie, what's like the essential live song, it's this one. Didn't quite make my top 10, but big one. Growing Up, which is on his first record. Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. This is my favorite song on that. Great song. Prove It All Night, mentioned that from Darkness on the Edge of Town. Check out the live version where he plays a extended ripping guitar solo. Better Days, there's a 90s song from Lucky Town. Night from Born to Run. I think that's the most underrated track on Born to Run. The Rising, already mentioned. From Magic, Girls in Their Summer Clothes. Darkness on the Edge of Town, Factory, sort of a generic Springsteen song, but I think it's really great. I love it. And from Nebraska, State Trooper. That one he's got this terrifying howl at the end. That song is paranoia all over. And then my last honorable mention is one that's more famous by another artist covering it, and that is Fire. The Pointer Sisters version is the definitive version, although there is a Springsteen version of it that's good, but the Pointer Sisters one is.
I should throw one more in. Really sorry,
sure.
His live version of his live cover of the song War. What is it good for? It's really good, and it's going to lead into my number one. Because if you go and you listen to it, he does a little monologue. He does, kind of growing up in the 60s and the Vietnam War monologue, and he kind of ties it in. It's in the 80s. I think he's doing this in the 80s. So he's like, in 1984, whatever, blind faith in your leaders will get you killed. And then he goes into the song and he kills it. And actually, it's so good that you actually can. The karaoke version of it, the live version of it, is available usually in places.
Wow.
So very good. So his live cover of War is very good.
All right. So here's my honorable mentions. You just mentioned Lucky Town. I actually like the title track from that. I think Lucky Town is a good song. Mm-hmm. Another title track from an album I'm so on, Wrecking Ball. I think Wrecking Ball is a great song. Badlands, Adam Raised a Cain, Atlantic City, Radio Nowhere. Which is good.
I like Radio Nowhere. I do. I think it's kind of simple, but it's a bop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it pairs well with Radio Free Europe as well. Okay.
And it does have that. Is there anybody alive out there in there? Which is something he's been saying, I think, for a very, very long time.
Yep. Yes. Magic, which you already mentioned. Mansion on the Hill. I like the National does a good cover of that, actually. Glory Days. Waiting on a Sunny Day. We Take Care of Our Own. Mm-hmm. Streets of Philadelphia. No Surrender. And Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
No Surrender is really good. No Surrender is a great fuck you. Hey, we're not going to give up song.
Yep.
So that's a good pump you up one for sure.
All right.
Made of promise.
I think the three of us are going to have three different number ones, which is
I know
pretty
mine's
cool.
not. Mine's like my current number one. It's like, which this probably could change from day to day. So,
Well, what is it?
I was so impressed with him in Manchester, and you can listen to this. It's online. It was My City of Ruins, the live version that he just did like a month ago.
There's a blood red circle on the cold dark ground, and the rain is falling down. The church door's thrown open, I can hear the organ song, but the congregation's gone. My city of ruins, my city of ruins. Just one more time around, boys. That's right. Are you ready to join together? Are you ready to join together? Are you ready to join together? 1, 2.
And this is the one where he went up there and he's like, there's some strange shit going on. All of this is happening right now. People are getting dragged off the streets right now. Universities are being defunded right now. And he doesn't screw up a word. He doesn't flub. He doesn't. Did you hear this, Dylan?
I did, but I didn't realize that he then played my.
Oh yeah, it goes into My City of Ruins. So it's actually connected. It's like it's kind of underneath it, and then it goes into it.
Okay.
So the song is great too. I take it as a piece.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to be provocative, and because I can load things into my karaoke machine at where I run it, and I can like to take lyrics. I want to be really provocative and do the speech, the 3-minute speech going into it. But I couldn't. I just am so proud to be a Springsteen fan, to hear that, and these the America that I've been singing to you about for the last 50 years is real. He hasn't given up, and we will survive this moment. It's really powerful, and it's something I'm probably going to listen to when I get up a lot over the next several months. It does fill me up to listen to it, and so I think it's definitely going to be on some lists at the end of the year, and I think it might go down as one of the most like a very important political speech. I think it's really, really succinct and powerful in a way that only a real rock star can deliver it.
It's a beautiful song, and this is the closing track on The Rising. And so the City of Ruins he's literally talking about is, of course, the New York City gaping hole where the Twin Towers once stood. But he's talking about, as you said, this is, again, finding the uplifting thing in the ruins, which is like, we'll rebuild something.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of equating this presidency to 9/11.
Well, actually, the song is not about New York. It's about Asbury Park. And then he put it on The Rising, and it took on new meaning. But those lyrics are actually originally about Asbury Park, which that area of like the Jersey Shore was really sort of decimated from the time that he got going at the Stone Pony to when he wrote that song. And then Asbury Park's actually made a big comeback. I think it's actually very popular as a gay beach town, and a lot of people, gay men, like revived those buildings, those old like Victorian houses along the beach. But it took on totally new meaning, and he, of course, put it on the album The Rising, where the song The Rising was written right after 9/11, and so the meaning has since evolved.
So I think that was making the rounds recently, and if anyone's listening to this and hasn't listened to the My City of Ruins track from the tour, the Manchester tour, highly recommend it.
Cool. Dylan, your number one.
All right. My number one is what I think well, I have him as number one because I think it is his grandest, most ambitious song, and I think he completely nails it, and it is Jungleland.
I knew you were going to say
I was
yes.
gonna say,
I knew it.
I would have put money on this being your number one.
Yes.
The Rangers had a homecoming in Harlem late last night, and a magic rat drove his sleek machine over a Jersey state line. Barefoot girl sitting on the hood of a Dodge, drinking warm beer in the soft summer rain. The rat pulls in the town, rolls up his pants. Together they take a stab at romance and disappear down Flamingo Lane. Well, a maximum lawman run down Flamingo, chasing a rat and a barefoot girl. The kids around here look just like shadows, always quiet, holding hands. From the churches to the jails, tonight all is silence in the world. As we take our stand down in Jungleland. Well, midnight gangs assemble and picked a rendezvous for the night. They'll meet neath that giant Exxon sign that brings this fair city light. Man, there's an opera out on the turnpike. There's a ballet being fought out in the alley until the local cops cherry top.
The last song on Born to Run, it is a true epic suite. Different sections. It tells a tragic, Romeo and Juliet-esque tale. Takes place in Upper Manhattan, driving over from the Jersey line over on the George Washington Bridge, I guess. And it's just this little mini rock opera of street life in New York and New Jersey. I just love the epic ambition packed into however long it is, 9 minutes, and it uses the whole band really well. Again, the Professor Roy Bittan, fantastic piano playing.
I think it's my favorite sax solo for sure.
Yes. So that's Clarence Clemens' sax solo. It's also, which is actually true of a lot of Clarence's solos. Springsteen wrote his solos and sort of dictated to him what to play. And I think likewise those iconic piano parts, there's demos of Springsteen playing them not very well, but then Roy Bittan, does it. So it's really just a total artist visionary work, and he has an amazing band to pull it off. And yes, this is to me the best Bruce Springsteen song.
It is definitely him at his most rock opera, and I do love the wailing at the end. I mean, that's also like his best wailing for sure. Yeah. Very, very reverby.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can kind of tell, like we've done a lot of these music podcasts now, and quite often the number one songs for people do tend to be songs in this kind of mold or construction where it's like, multiple, movements or pieces put together into a longer suite. So I think your number one Queen song was Bohemian Rhapsody. Your number one Billy Joel song was Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, right? All of these songs it's the same thing. It's like basically taking like the Beatles' Day in the Life and then doubling the length and the complexity. Because, honestly, it is like, it tends to be like, here's a thesis statement for everything this artist does in one package with kind of the impressive flourish of like, all these disparate parts work together to make something right that seems bigger than the sum of its parts. So I figured, like I said, would have put money, you would have picked this one. It's great.
You're right.
And if you've been paying attention, of course, and keeping track, I already kind of revealed what my number one was, which is also in this mold, just not quite as long, I think, which is Thunder Road.
Well, I got this guitar and I learned how to make it talk. And my car's out back if you're ready to take that long walk. From your front porch to my front seat, the door's open but the ride ain't free. And I know you're lonely for words that I ain't
So yeah, when I decided to listen to Thunder Road this time, having not listened to it for a while, like literal goosebumps, as that harmonica solo kicked in at the beginning, and just like the power of that song is just sort of so undeniable, because again, it's this motif, right? We got to get out of this place, but it's not as desperate as like Born to Run is, or some of these others where it's like, I got to get out of here before this factory collapses on me. It's more like, let's go. Like let's go have an adventure. Is kind of what he's saying about it, right? Roll down the window and let the wind blow back your hair. We can go anywhere, right? And it's so hopeful. It's so uplifting. And just from a compositional standpoint, it's interesting. Like, it doesn't really have a chorus. Like it's just he just kind of sings these lines up and through the end. Like there's no real repeating refrains or anything to it. But it has this great like build as it, again, as it starts off real slow, and the piano comes in and the drums come in, and like it kind of slowly builds and builds and builds until this like ecstatic saxophone solo at the end takes us out.
Yeah.
And like, every time I hear it, it just impresses me more and more.
And it kicks off a just amazing epic album. So it's quite an intro.
All right, so we've done it. We've roundtabled our top 10 list of Springsteen songs. So I will throw it out for people's kind of final thoughts and why they think this music will definitely endure. This will be this is something really special that I think future generations will be thrilled to come back and find. But tell me your thoughts.
Well, I just did an '80s night at the old tavern at the Well. The Inkwell, going down to the Well tonight. And I just stole some graphic to put on the screen because I didn't have a lot of time. But like you look at those people that are on that screen, and I deliberately picked one that had 1980s Springsteen on there, cut off sleeves and everything. And I'm just looking at all those people up there, and they're either gone or they had their time, like Madonna or something. Mm-hmm. They're very much of an era. And he's the only one. He's in a class of himself, and I think we just spent the last couple hours explaining why exactly that is. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty. I don't think you get very many people like that, and you get even less of them that are around as long as he's been and are willing to kind of do it as hard as he does it even today. So I'm on my gratitude list that I write every day. I think Springsteen's on there somewhere.
Dylan,
I think one reason that he'll endure is just look at who likes his music. Like if you go to his concerts, now partly it's because they're pretty expensive now, but you see a lot of like boomers, with some pretty wealthy white collar people who never worked a factory in their life. But there's also a lot of more blue collar people who have always related to his music. There's people who, like our generation, sort of Gen X millennials who did not come of age when he was at his, what many would say was his artistic peak, and yet discovered his music later and were so taken by it. And then as Dan mentioned, it's like you've got sort of a relatively younger act like Bleachers. It's like so insanely indebted to what he does. Some of what the Killers does also is a good example. And like, so he appeals to different generations, some different economic groups, and it's just clear that he's found he's just got the magic formula that can resonate with all sorts of people, often using sort of simple concepts with the words that he chooses or his harmonic language, but he really weaves it into something ornate and complex that truly nobody else does in that same way.
And I would say that, at the core of that too is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he comes across as a very, to me anyway, and he was really paying attention. You can turn him into a cartoon on Fox News or whatever if you want,
right.
But if you actually look at the guy, at the core of that is a genuine authenticity that I think resonates. Yeah,
I mean, any worthwhile piece of art has to speak to the human condition in some way. And here he is this like patron saint of all that is good and right in America, right? He embodies that so much, but also again in a very human way. Like all of these songs we've talked about are about such a relatable human experience, even if you never worked a day in your life. If you're not a blue collar person, it doesn't matter, because he speaks to this stuff from the heart, and with that authenticity you talked about, Dan, that like, how does this, if this doesn't resonate with you, even if you're not into the music per se, it's not your kind of music, the words, like if that doesn't speak to you.
Yeah, read these words and tell me that this isn't about something, you know what I mean, that you've experienced. Of course. Yeah, I think where younger people, or people who don't pay attention, get him wrong, is they think that he's saying something about America being special or great. I don't think he's ever really said that. I think he said that, we could be better as people. You know what I mean? We can treat each other better, and we can do things like that. You know what I mean? He believes in us. And has had sharp criticism for this country at every point, but so I find him very hopeful for that reason. I find I do, as we sort of have at church and stuff, and I'm also a Superman fan. I think maybe alluded to that earlier, but another character that sort of embodies an aspirational element to what it means to be an American citizen. And if I can go one step further and say that, like, I know right now we're talking about what's going on with the National Guard coming into Los Angeles, and all this dark shit that Trump's doing right before his big dear leader parade that he wants to do on Saturday. But I take a lot of hope at what I see around that too, about people standing up in all of these different protests and rallies and things that are going on, and the governor of California doing a great address and all that stuff. And I look at that and I look at Springsteen and I say, yeah, we are going to get through this moment. We are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm really glad we spent the time to talk about the boss today. This was a fun one, and I think a really good in-depth look at just an American treasure. So, guys, anything to plug before we bring this to a close? Dan, anything?
The Moon Unit's going to be playing in Huntington Beach for a wedding. No. No, I mean, I never have anything really to plug right now, but I'd love to. Hey, if you guys are ever in Burbank, California on a Monday night, come to the Inkwell Tavern. We'll do some karaoke.
All right. Dylan, how about you? I've got to tell the folks about Lost Moon
will
Radio.
Will this be airing before July 3rd? I don't think so. Will it?
No,
July
it will
3rd. Not. Yeah. Well, I have a show on July 3rd. No, other than that, you could just follow the band that was mentioned, the Moon Units. We know a bunch of Springsteen songs.
Yeah, they are a terrific band. I can vouch for them as an outsider,
yes,
and they will come to your event. They will come and play. Yeah, exactly. Request Dan as a sound engineer.
Yes, exactly.
Specifically.
So, yeah, the Moon Units on Instagram or themoonunits.com.
All right. And so do a little admin here, of course, if you like the show. And you please do drop it a review on iTunes or Podcast Addict, wherever you happen to find it, because that does great things for the algorithm that helps more people find out about the podcast and listen to it, as does word of mouth, of course. If you want to get in touch with us, all the social media portals are in the show notes. You can just go to any of the ones in there and reach out to us. I would recommend that you follow us on either Facebook, BlueSky, or Instagram, because I'll post a clue every Wednesday as to what the next episode is going to be about. I also want to encourage you to listen to our sister podcast. By the time you're hearing this, we will have launched Playing by Ear, which is another musical podcast. Each episode, myself, my wife Amy, who you've heard on the show many times, and my brother-in-law Kyle, who you've also heard on the show many times. One of us will bring an album to the group. We'll dissect it track by track. We're also planning on having guests on the show as well, but that's a monthly show where we do that. So by the time you're hearing this, there should be, I think, at least 2 or 3 of those out. Like I said, it's once a month. So be on the lookout for that as well. And I think that'll bring this one to a close. Guys, thanks again for doing this. I couldn't think of 2 bigger, better Springsteen fans to do this with.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. So until next time, there's one more entry in the Nostalgium Arcanum.
Well, it's been a tough few weeks in this swamp called D.C. They're going after Cohen and Sean Hannity. Combs' Book of Lies is tearing up the charts, and this trade war with China is taking forever to start. Well, an activist judge ruled that DACA's here to stay, and Ronnie Jackson's too drunk to run the VA. But the clouds are parting, so cheer up, Donnie, 'cause rolling into town is Rudy. the charm that got him 8th place for the Republican nomination. 2008, gonna clean up the language on the next Muslim ban and send all the